Okay, so in this last video, we're going to look at two of the things that haven't been covered yet. Hopefully, you'll remember that in your presentation, you have to talk about two of these things: sprites, keyboard input, collision detection, the scoring system. We've covered all of those things to some degree within the last within these videos, and so the remaining ones are the main game loop and events and messages. So we'll take a look at those. We'll take a look at those right now and find out what those are all about. So far in this game that I have working, I have just the one ball bouncing, or the one paddle, I should say, working, and the ball bouncing off that paddle, and I have a score happening. And all of that starts up when I click on the green flag. But I want my game to end at some point. I want the score to reach a certain point, and then I want it to end. So I've gone in and created this other sprite. It's just a little, it's just the title, Pong. I don't even really need to have it visible under looks. I could just have an empty sprite. I could have a sprite that's hidden. It's really something I'm going to. It's doing double duty by being a title. I'm going to use it kind of like a button, but most importantly, I'm going to use it as something that is running all the other scripts and kind of coordinating those other scripts. So, for instance, I'll actually. The starting point will be I'll use it to turn on the game. So it might be kind of a button that will start up the two-player mode of the game. So right now I have the green flags doing all that work, and I want instead to be able to use my my button. So how am I going to do that? So if I go back to my Pong button, there's other events here, and one of them, instead of just the green flag one that we've been using, is you can do something when the sprite is actually clicked. So everything's stopped. I'm going to click on the sprite, and when I click on it, sometimes hard to click on it, this hello message comes up. This script ran. So you can see that you can click it, make it clickable, make it able to do other things. But how am I going to get it to turn on the paddle scripts and the ball script? So I took those green flags away, and I'm going to replace them with these message ones. And if I go under the drop down here, I'm going to create a new message. It's going to be called Start Game. So now I should see that message here as well, Start Game. So, and I'm going to do the same thing in player one, or in the paddle, player one. I'll change those to Start Game. And how do I send a Start Game message? From this sprite, I can broadcast Start Game. So you just broadcast by double clicking on it, and you'll see the game start. Or I could have it start by clicking on it as if it were a button. I think, if I remember, the weird thing about clicking on the sprite is that if I'm trying to click on the white part in the letter N, it actually doesn't register the click. So I have to click on, kind of a part of it, like a colored black pixel. Maybe I'm not clicking in the right spot or there. So there it goes. So isn't the best button. You probably need some kind of square behind it of color to make it work properly. Okay, so when I start the game, I really need to kind of set the score properly. So I'll set the score for the player 2 score to 0. So there you saw the score set to 0. And it starts the game. And so I also need a way of finding out when the game is over. So within this main game loop, I'll create the loop first of all. I don't have a loop yet. There's the loop. Now I can do all sorts of things. I can be checking for all sorts of conditions using my if statements. So for instance, I should be checking to see, I'll make this game go up to 2 points. So if player 2 equals 2, I'll end the game. I'll just say something. So I'll just say, you can do anything in here. You should do something better than I'm doing. Player 2 wins. Okay, so we'll run it by clicking on here again. Should initialize the score. And 1 point, 2 points, there's a message, player 2 wins. We just need to stop the game at this point. And I'm going to use a message as well. I'll use the message game over. So I will send a message game over. It's a new message, game over. Game over. And at that point I'll just have the ball stop. So something has to happen in here in one of these loops that will stop it. So if I look under control, I have one of these stop buttons or blocks. So I can stop all the scripts. That would stop everything. It would basically shut the entire program down. That could be one way of stopping it. I could stop the script itself, which isn't going to do anything because it's really just a script to receive the stop message and do something. Or I could shut down all the other scripts, which are the scripts making the ball move. So that might be the one I'll try. And there's probably many ways you could do this. This might not be the best way to do it in your game. There's 2 points and player 2 wins. It took a while for the ball to stop, but it did stop. So it did shut the game down. My paddle is still working. I could maybe stop the paddle as well in the same way. Maybe there's something else that I would check. Maybe there's a variable that a global variable that would, instead of using a message technique, maybe inside forever, I have to check a global variable that it just says whether or not the game is actually over. So there's many ways you could do it, but certainly messages gives you a lot more power. You're able to kind of communicate between different scripts. You're able to turn certain things into buttons that can trigger other things. So there's a lot of other things happening there. And using another kind of sprite just for a main loop where you're able to check for scores or other conditions occurring is something that you're going to need in the game. You're going to need some kind of logic to be working to do some of those things, and you need to put that somewhere. So you should put it all in one place and kind of consider that your main loop for the game where you take care of those things. So hopefully that gives you some ideas to kind of finish up some of those parts of your game with.